What is going on, guys? Duranathor here, and today I'm going to run through an updated version of the Rikka Sunavalon deck that I've been playing. We're playing 3 Loci now, rather than 2. I'm finding 3 Loci a lot better. You can still get away with 2, but because we're playing a couple extra cards, it makes sense to play the extra Loci to try and hit it. Still playing the 2 petal though. I'm finding 2 petal is perfectly fine. I have seen people playing 3. I'm finding the 2 is perfectly fine. 3 Maxi, it's Master Duel, you play Maxi. 1 Twin, still only need 1 Twin. 1 Lone Fire is incredibly helpful because there's a way you can kind of extend the combo a little bit more now. I will run through it at the end after I've gone through the main deck and the extra deck, but the 1 Lone Fire has definitely come in clutch a lot of times. 3 Ash Blossom, once again. You play a Master Duel, 3 Ash Blossom, and while we're here, 2 Core Buy and 1 Cross-Out Designator. Pretty much any time I make a deck on Master Duel, before I even think about what deck I want it to be, whether it's another version of this Rikka deck, whether it's Dark Magician, any deck, 3 Maxi, 3 Ash, 2 Core Buy, 1 Cross-Out Designator, I feel like you just have to play those 9 cards in Master Duel. 1 Primula still. Don't need 2. Didn't need to test it with 2. You only need 1. It's very rare that this now comes up. You only need 1, please don't play more than 1. 3 Petal, it's your Monster Negate. Your 1 Petal. 3 Petal is great. 2 Mudan now. 2 Mudan rather than 3. Once again, because you're playing a couple extra different cards now, that I'll go into in a moment. Sometimes having the extra Mudan in your hand would make it a brick and you wouldn't be able to continue. I find 2 is probably the optimal point. If you're playing pure Rikka, you 100% want 3. This card's, the main crux of the deck, the main searches. From Mudan, you will 99% of the time add Concon. And then from Concon, you will set Sheet. So with just Mudan, you are technically searching 2. But because of the ratios, 2 Mudan is enough. Same with 1 Snowdrop. I'm a little bit on the fence about this. I kind of liked having 2 for the extra extended plays to go on after, turn 3, turn 4. But at the moment, 2 Mudan, 1 Snowdrop is the way that it's going. It's the way I'm finding it to work. We are now playing the Therion stuff. 1 Lily, 1 Regulus, 1 Disc Coliseum. You will use Lily effect, put any plant as an equip. Second Lily effect, you send the equipped plant to the grave to add Disc Coliseum. Activate Disc Coliseum to search Regulus. One way or another, there isn't Snowdrop effect because it will stop you from being able to summon the king. Either Lone Fire, Mudan, link it away for Jasmine, get the Lily in grave, Regulus effect, equip Lily. You have an Omni Negate. I'm finding it great. Finding it works. It's an answer to Evenly Match, which is what this desperately needed. You had Spell a Monster Negate with Hyperiton, you had Tributes, you had Protection with Kanzashi, but it just didn't have any negation against Evenly Matched. I'm not really finding people are playing Evenly Matched. It's not something I'm running into a lot. In real life, in the TCG, a lot of people are starting to play evenly. I try and keep this as close to the real life version that I'm playing, just so then it's not, 2 completely different decks. But saying that, at the moment, I am playing Rikka Trap Trick with the new Trap Trick support, which isn't in here. Trap Trick Holotea, Pinjiluka, all of the new Trap Trick stuff from the structure decks isn't in here, but when it is, I will be doing a deck profile on that one, so keep an eye out for that. But the Therion stuff is coming in so clutch. So clutch. Playing the 1-for-1. I'm finding the 1-for-1 does work. Because if you have Lily in hand, if you have Lily and Regulus in hand, you can 1-for-1 to discard Lily, and then Regulus is live. Same way if you have Lily, 1-for-1, Concon, Caught by the Grave, and we'll go, say, Princess. You know, you can 1-for-1, discard the Princess, summon the low C. Berea, put the Princess underneath, send it, Colosseum, get Regulus as your 4th summon, so then you have a negate if your opponent does Nibiru you. And you also have Princess as a negate as well. It's just handy. The Theron stuff's coming in clutch. 1-for-1 is making sense, 1-for-1 is working, because it's essentially just a 4th copy of Unexpected Die, and if you can play 7 Loci rather than 6, you're gonna play 7 Loci rather than 6. 3 Glamour still. Glamour is the search. Sometimes you can bait out people's Ash with it. It's also you tribute their guy. You've got the level 1s, which is handy. You always want to search these. You've got the level 8s because Snowdrop and Berea, level 8s, and then you've got the level 4s with Primula and Princess. Most of the time you will be getting Loci and Petal, but there is the odd occasion you might fancy Snowdrop and Berea. You never know, but 3 Glamour. 2 Sewing. 2 Sewing. I'm finding that people are becoming a bit more familiar with this deck, not only in the TCG but also in Master Duel. They're knowing now that if you're going to Ash, they will Ash the Sewing now rather than the Dryers, so it's the 2nd copy that you need. It's also a case if you have, say, Rikka Princess and Sewing, you can Princess, go into Dryas, Sewing, summon Loci, Dryas activates, summons Healer, you then Healer and Dryas into Jasmine, Jasmine to tribute the Loci, to summon Twin effect. I don't believe activates though, but you do want to get the Twin out of your deck. You have to have a Sun Avalon link card for Twin effect to activate, but you go into, say, like the Twin, Melius, get Loci back, Bengalancer. It's just a very, very soft version that does let you extend a little bit more, but it's handy to have the 2nd Sewing. So if they do Ash it, or you do have to use it in that way, you can still use the Sewing for your next turn. But then, if that's the case, what I've said is wrong. You would not go for the Twin, you would go for another Loci. Simply because you want to keep the Twin in your deck. But, yeah, 2 Sewing. I've already covered the 1 Disc Colosseum. 2 Con-Con? Possibly could be 3. Probably should be 3. Because I've cut down a Mudan, I've cut down a way of searching it. I haven't ran into any problems with it being at 2. But it probably should be 3. I've covered the core buys and the crossouts. They're just cards that you have to play 3 evenly now. 3 evenly is very good at board breaking. It's very, very, very strong card, especially in the TCG. As I mentioned, I try and keep it close to the TCG version. But with what you have here, you imperm them, imperm their negate, evenly match them, activate Con-Con, tribute their last guy. Just completely gets rid of the board. The way that I've been playing this, and the way that I've been seeing a lot of people playing this, if they are going 2nd, it's purely about trying to break down your opponent's board, rather than trying to negate them to begin with. Master Duel is a little bit different, because you need to play Ash Blossom to stop your opponent's Max C. We have the 3 imperm. If you are going 2nd, and you have an imperm in your hand, don't use it until you have drawn your 6th card. Don't use it to interrupt your opponent if you have just the imperm. Unless you are 100% confident it will stop their combo and stop their turn. If you have imperm and Ash, kind of feel free to use both, because odds are both of them are going to stop the combo. But if you have just the imperm, trust me, hold on to it, because if you draw evenly as your 6th card, and you need to bait out a negate, and it's, you know, a monster negate that doesn't destroy, a spell and trap negate that doesn't destroy, and you end up with keeping the Con-Con on the board, not being able to get rid of your Princess or something like that, you're then stuck with your evenly. Trust me, when you're going 2nd, don't imperm your opponent unless it ends their combo. I'm still playing the 1-off sheet because you will always set it with Con-Con. It's a tribute and steal. It solves 2 problems. I have dropped the Tranquility. It's, you know, I played Tranquility purely down to personal preference. I haven't ran into any problems not having the Tranquility. I think because now you're playing Regulus, you've got an extra Omni negate. You're playing an extra Sewing in case your opponent negates yours. You know, you end up with an Omni negate, a Spell and Monster negate, a Tribute, and Steel with Sheet, a Monster negate Engrave, sometimes your own Ash Blossom and a Maxi with a face down Imperm. Like, you're just playing so much now that it's very rare you make it to turn 3, which is another reason why these are down to 2 and 1. You just don't reach the long game now, because if you go second, you know, you evenly your opponent, or you break down their board in another way. I'm not really needing the Tranquility anymore, which is sad because I enjoy it, but I'm not needing it. Onto the extra deck. 2 Strenna. Strenna's good, Strenna's brilliant, easy to make. 2 Strenna. I still play the Kanzashi to stop your opponent's Lightning Storm and Raigeki. Kanzashi is a good card. I really like Kanzashi. I don't see anybody playing it, but I think in Master Duel it's pretty much mandatory because your opponent will be playing going second cards. They will have Raigeki. They will have Lightning Storm. They will have other ways of trying to destroy your monsters, and Kanzashi protects them by sacrificing a plant or your opponent's card if they've played something to try and bait you out. Really like Kanzashi. I will always play Kanzashi in Master Duel. 1 Teardrop, pretty much your boss monster. 1 Hyperiton for the spell and monster negate if you play the combo right. 3 Dryas, because we're playing a second sowing, 3 Dryas does make sense. Sometimes your opponent will also negate your Dryas, so it's handy to have the other 2 for the combo. Speaking of the combo, 2 Healer, 1 Melius, 1 Bengal Lancer, and now 2 Jasmine. I'll explain that in just a moment. Because we're also playing a Sunvine Thrasher for the OTK. I was aware of how to do this OTK, but it never really came up because I felt like you could, you know, do enough to completely break down your opponent's board, and then just stop them from doing something next turn by putting something to the top of their deck with Ulse. I just like doing that because it was a major troll, but I have dropped the Ulse to put in the Thrasher, simply because, you know, you can just flat out win with it. 2 Jasmine as well because you can slightly extend your Rikka combo. Moving on to those combos, I will start with the Thrasher just in case you don't know it. We will say that your opponent has been stopped during their turn. You've Ash and Impermed them, and they have a singular monster on board. We'll say Isolde, because a lot of the decks that go for Isolde, if you stop the Isolde, it does just completely stop their combo. You will have either Unexpected Die, 1-for-1, Losi, Princess and Glamour. Any way for you to get Losi. Normal summon the Losi, change the Losi, link the Losi into a Dryas to add the Sowing. Activate Sowing to summon Twin. Twin, Chainlink 1 to summon Losi, Dryas, Chainlink 2 to summon Healer. So you have Dryas in the top spot, Healer underneath, Losi to the left, and Twin to the right. I always do it that way. I just find it, you know, that's the way I did it the first time, and it's stuck in my mind. It's the way that I do it. You will then link Losi, Twin, and Healer into Melius. So it's pointing up towards the Dryas in the link zone. Melius effect will then summon the Losi either side of the Melius. You then use the summoned Losi to go into Thrasher. With Thrasher effect, you target Melius. It gains 800 times its link rating, which makes Thrasher a 3200. You use Melius effect. Not a lot of people realise that Melius has a second effect. Melius effect to target Thrasher. It can attack twice. You then use the Melius and the Dryas to make Bengal Lancer. If your opponent had Isolde, you Bengal Lancer effect to put Isolde back to the extra deck. If they add another monster, you put it back to their hand. They now have nothing on board. You have a 3200 attack Thrasher that can attack twice for 6400, and Bengal Lancer at 2500 that can attack for 8900 damage as an OTK. That has come up. It's just quicker. And it saves then if your opponent does have something extra and you troll them with Alcei and put something to the top and then they keep going. yeah, it stops you from looking like a fool. But Thrasher is just a way of just flat out ending the game now. Moving on to why we play the 2 Jasmine. Going back, we have just so winged to have the four cards. You make Dryas and Healer into Jasmine, Twin into Dryas, Losi into Healer. Healer target Losi, gain 300, add Berea. Jasmine effect, tribute Healer, has to be Healer, to summon Lonefire. Berea effect, any plant. I usually don't go for the Healer, just in case of interruptions, but any plant as an equip to special summon Berea. Berea effect, get rid of the equipped plant to add Discolosseum. Discolosseum to add Regulus to hand. Lonefire effect, tribute the Berea. Most of the time you will be summoning Petal. Sometimes you will summon Mudan. If you summon Mudan, add Concon. If you've already got Concon, add Glamour, because you'll be setting Sheet from Concon. So now you have, well, say you got Petal, because you can always Petal to add either Primula or Mudan. Petal is probably the better play to go for because of what happens next in the combo. But you now have Jasmine, a Sunvine Healer, a Sunvine Dryas, Sunavalon Dryas, I'll get it eventually. Lonefire, Petal. You use Regulus effect, put Berea underneath Regulus before you do anything else because you lock yourself into plants. Petal effect, add the Snowdrop. If you've already got the Snowdrop, add the Primula. Petal and Lonefire into the second version, the second Jasmine. You use Twin effect from your grave, banish the Twin, banish the first Jasmine that you summoned that is in the link zone to summon Healer. Healer activates, targets Dryas. You gain 300. Your second Jasmine activates its effect to add a plant monster. It says once per turn, but it is once per turn per card. This one, you can only use this effect of Aromasary Jasmine once per turn, is the tribute. You can only tribute once per turn, but the once per turn at the bottom, if you gain life points, add a plant, is per card. So you then use that Jasmine's effect to add the other, either Primula or Snowdrop, or Mudan, whichever of the 3 that you don't have. You can then those 3 into Melius, get the Losi, into Bengalancer, then continue your combo, you know. It's a bit difficult to explain without physically doing it, so I will do a couple replays of duels that I've been playing, speaking you through the combo a bit more in depth while I'm actually going through it, but fingers crossed you got the gist of how to do it. As always, thank you for watching. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comments. Once again, I will be uploading a couple duels, speaking you through, and I will make sure that I can show the Thrasher OTK, and I will also make sure that I can show the extended plays with both the Jasmines. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.